Day 501. We're back at it again, folks. I'm gonna just jump into it this time around as I have a lot of ideas planned, and getting started ASAP is entirely depending on getting those shulkers into the farm. So we crafted up some rails and got to it, building a bridge from the city over to the farm, and then setting up a railway to get over to my destination. Now, I'll be honest, this is gonna be the tricky part, as most of the shulkers are inside the pillar on the walls, and that's kind of a pain to work with. But we got a volunteer because he teleported too close to me. What a time to be alive for this guy. And the guy escaped like that. So we're gonna have to change the strategy a bit. Let's give a nice warm welcome to our old friend, the boat. And hey, we got guy number 2. Scratch that, we went far too low, so guy number 2 is lost to the floor. But guy 3, now there's a guy you can trust. Mostly because he actually made it to the farm. Now for the 2-for-1 using the boat again, and a cart to take them. That's actually really cool, I snatched them off the walls like that. But now I gotta struggle to release them because their hitboxes are large. Just like your mom. But with a quick slash from my axe, we got 2 more shulkers in the farm. And this, my friends, is it. 103 days all led up to this point. And boy howdy was it worth it. Just look at this farm's true majesty. The many shulkers that find themselves duplicating inside. This weird shot I got from my 3rd-person cam. And after a good 7 minutes of us letting it go, we got 56 shells. And that, by the way, isn't the farm's max speed, as it gets faster the longer you let it run. But back at the base, I made 28 new shulkers. This chest might not look like much, didn't even fill it, but I've been rocking only 4 shulkers for a really long time now. This is beautiful to me. Oh, also I set up a red shulker to store my weapons and tools in so that I can carry them with me at all times without giving up a ton of inventory space. Cause I'm smart like that. So now with our shulker problem finally solved, we can move on to gathering resources. Back at the end of 400 days, I picked out a new block palette to begin using in my town, and finally, after so much time, we're gonna get to actually use it. So the first thing I need to start farming is warped stems. Luckily, our wood farm can be used for such things. However, it needs a stack of stems and a half a stack of shroom lights to work. That's because I need to basically swap out the items in the filters, so, you know, we have to actually do this part. So I gathered it up and then worked to swap the farm into its secondary mode so that it could even harvest this stuff. Day 505. And hey look, we already got it set up for this task. Now, one major difference between farming stems compared to farming normal trees is that while normal trees have renewable saplings, the fungi don't. You either have to roll for a shroom by bone mealing the nylium, or collecting more manually. However, while farming stems, this farm is able to produce its own bone meal, so it's kind of balanced out. But that's besides the point, as after 40 fungi we have our hands on practically nothing? I found the issue. Looks like I just updated the water and it stopped flowing properly in this spot, allowing logs to just disappear as I was here for like 10 minutes. So we collected more fungi. Don't you just love this kind of stuff? And then back to the farm. And hey, clearly I did something right as we got way more stems this time around. Alright, so next up on the chopping block for materials is gonna be white concrete. And you know what beautiful machine I just built that can help us with this task? See, this is the real reason why I built the sand duper in 500 days. Because I kind of anticipated that we would end up needing it for something like concrete at some point. Anyways, after that I swapped around the palette a bit. Decided to keep dark oak instead of spruce, which means we had to fire up the dark oak farm. And we got way more of this stuff than I know what to do with. Like genuinely, I don't think we've ever had this much wood. So it's time to do the same thing we've done before. Back when I first started this town, I created a prototype house. This became the Honey Chateau, where we keep our bee farm at. This one doesn't really have that exact same purpose, but I do want it to be a prototype for houses following this new palette, especially because we are probably going to be making our first mega build with this palette in mind. So figuring it out on something that will be much smaller than the mega build but larger than other houses that will follow this is just kind of a good idea. And hey look, we're already on floor 2. So the real question I need to answer for myself is, do I keep building the same way I did for the pale oak buildings? Most of those tend to be on the flat side of things, sticking to their frames, being part of walls and stuff like that. This was good on some houses like the really small ones, but for larger ones, it kept things looking flattened. Good for space and resources, bad for, well, everything else. So I want to change this. Going forward, the houses will be built with multiple shapes, not just one square on the ground, and the frames will be separate from the main walls. At least long enough for me to decide if I like it better this way. Oh hey, we're already on the roof, by the way. Simple for the most part, but the real issue comes in with this last bit of siding under the roof. Basically, I just tried a few different blocks until I decided that I like stripped warped stems the best for this spot. But now our new palette, warped palette prototype house, is officially done. Now on to something a little different. I got a request from a frequent commenter and community member named Boxed to make a building for a departed friend out of cherry wood, and I intend to do so. So Boxed, this next one is for you. Day 510, cherry wood. Cherry wood. Can I farm cherry wood in my wood farm? I think yes, but that may take away from the authenticity of this build. It means something to someone and therefore should be handled with care, and not TNT to collect the resources. I'm kinda in the house building mood still, so I think I'll do another pallet prototype build. Basically, if I have a house in the town that is made of cherry at any other point in the world, it will be based off this one. So we start with making a unique shape, getting the frame in after that, and with some stone bricks, we're officially in the swing of things. I use the bricks as a more neutral block for the lower section to accentuate what would come next. That, of course, being cherry planks. Though if you're paying attention, I'm also using pale oak for the floors. That's because of a trick I learned with building, where you try to make the color of the walls, floors, and ceilings all different from one another, as it helps make each pop out more. On the outside of the house though, I thought things were still looking a little boring, probably because I used regular stone bricks. So to try and distract from that, I started putting pale oak trapdoors on the outside walls, which should help, but I can do better. Pale oak signs at the top of the walls can do something similar to the trapdoors, and some cherry leaves sprinkled around the outside is exactly what I'm looking for, though it may almost be too much now. The only solution I have to it being too much though is I gotta add more, of course. So now we're gonna use some hanging signs too as a little fence up here. And with that, we now decide the style of the roof. Typically I go for a more staircase roof, but this time I kinda want something different. However, I don't want to deviate too much. So I think having something that keeps the same look but with a little differentiation will go a long way. So we got ourselves a staircase roof, but with it being 2 blocks tall on each step. So yeah, after that we just got wrapped up the roof and got a nice crisp cherry build in dedication to Boxed and their departed friend, Albert. Hope you enjoy, man, and sorry for your loss. Wow, that was a long nap. Anyways, now that we got 2 houses to work off of, we need to get more blocks to keep building. Mostly warped stems, honestly, though for that we need more fungi, and I do actually refuse to do it with my hands anymore. Only took 9 days and I already decided to make a farm. Look at me go! Ooh, and it can be inside the warped house prototype like the bee farm is for the original prototype house. And to think, I thought I wasn't gonna put anything into this. Day 515, so don't mind me just raining what lies beneath the house. Note to self, get more sponges for the Ocean Monument project. And now this farm is designed by UForest and is very simple. It all runs off an observer no-block clock that powers both a dispenser below and a set of pistons up high. The pistons will push the nylium and hopefully break whatever I grow on it. So now if I just flick this, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Fungus heaven, baby! Just setting up a machine that will turn the unusable nether plants back into bone meal, gathering more fungi, and getting to work farming up these warped stems. Like 2 stacks of funguses worth of the stuff. And once that is all done and over with, I can move on to what I truly want to do. Build the town. Though we're actually starting to run out of room in this first spot. Gonna have to expand over to the mountain range at some point. But this spot behind the pale builds is a shoo-in for more houses. Bigger ones. Complicated ones. The copper update is here. Unfortunately, I haven't updated yet as I'm waiting for sodium to update. Anyways, this part of the town build is definitely showcasing how good I've gotten at making builds like this fast. Most of that comes down to the whole 1 block type at a time thing from 400 days, but it's still just nice to see, especially with shots like this. Like seriously, we got 4 large builds being mostly put up in only 3 days. Do you know how long it took to make the smaller ones? Too long at my current rate. Oh wait, scratch that speed talk. I may have to stop for more resources. I'm out of warped stems. Day 520. The copper update is actually here now. And to celebrate, I made one of my beloved copper golems. He can sort the pumpkin seeds I tore from his slowly oxidizing flesh. Anywho, I'm now finishing up the frames for the roofs over here and getting more stems over there. Really hoping I only have to do this once. And like a wheel, we turn right back around to the roof situation. I don't really want to use a ton of extra stems on the roof sections like on the prototype, so I've decided that these houses will rock a nice clean warp block up there. That's kind of a really gross name, honestly. That's not the only name that's like that either. You ever think about this stuff sometimes? Last day of roofing, by the way. Oh, and I really want to highlight this house specifically. It's 2-in-1 that I connected with a little area that needs its own special roof. Why am I bringing it up? Because if I didn't, nobody would ever see it until I do another world tour. Anyways, we got every roof on these houses done now. Time to figure out where we can take the town next. Here, right here. All our needs for a larger town can be met right here. Though what creative direction will this section go? Because like I've done houses. Where that one mountain used to be is where we're gonna continue to do those. And then the area closer to the Ocean Monument project is reserved for our upcoming mega build project. So let's start gathering other concrete colors. I think I got a plan. Don't mind me just expanding the storage for the sand duper. And now you may be asking why I want more concrete colors. Well, it's simple. The hallmark for any good world is the random silly builds people don't tend to think too hard about making. For the past 500 days or so, I have really only built serious things like houses and farms. But now is the time to get silly. At least while I designed the mega build. Day 525. Alright, I didn't mean for this to happen, but I found myself fixing the bone meal farm again today. Gotta figure out a better solution for bone meal at some point. I keep saying that. Anyways, silly build numero uno. Just setting the tone for how these will probably be going. This little fella is based off an old short of mine from back in the day. I used to do a series where I would build the top common and Sonic just kept coming up. So I welcomed this crummy Sonic build back into my life because it's silly. You know though, crummy Sonic is looking a little lonely. So we gotta slap together a crummy Tails to go with him. And I will say these builds need way more fiddling than they look like they should. Like, there should absolutely be no reason this took half a day to do, but every other version I did looked even more wrong than this. Speaking of looking wrong though, if you got Sonic and Tails, you should probably just complete the trio with a nice Knuckles, right? And oh boy, these guys are definitely a colorful bunch, I guess. Alright, well, everybody seems to like crummy Sonic and friends, so I'll give you a few more. In particular, I've been asked, where's Amy a few times? And as of now, she's on Sonic's right. And also, where's Shadow? Well, simply put, he's hard to make. Some people would say more weird than hard. But you know what? I am up for that challenge, and I made a crummy Shadow with a yellow Chaos Emerald. Kinda looking a little imbalanced on Sonic's right, though. Okay, so I'm gonna have to call quits on the Sonic characters soon, but before I can, there are a few others that gotta get put in here. I mean, it's just so imbalanced. Primarily, I wanna do Blaze and Silver, but Blaze needs at least 2 shades of purple to work. Concrete does not have 2 shades of purple. So with the day of gathering terracotta later, I gotta Blaze the cat with 2 shades of purple. One of those shades is technically blue, for some reason. Now onto Silver. Just a few things here, and there you go, Silver the Hedgehog. Got a nice roster going here, though it isn't complete. Gotta make a few more to call it on those guys, like Big the Cat, but I got an idea for 2 dudes that I just really want to get put up now. And I mean, these guys are kinda related to Sonic. The dude was literally made to compete with these two, so I'm not wrong. And as such, I made a crummy Luigi and his big bro, Mario. I like that I did their mustaches differently. Day 530. Okay, last day of crummy silly builds for a bit because I need to get some more stuff done. Gonna do Peach and Daisy to go with Mario and Luigi for now, but I'll eventually swing around and do a Bowser at some point. Also, first time I've seen a zombie in copper armor, and it's a whole set. Kinda neat. Anyways, here's the builds. Now back to our regularly scheduled getting work done. Alright, time for some maintenance on the base. Primarily just taking care of this old TNT duper from 400 days. Sad to see it go, but it had to happen at some point. Anyways, I kinda wanna start messing with copper golem sorting. Got a nice tutorial by Rayzworks that I'm gonna be following, but before I can do that, I gotta clear out a spot in the storage room. Thinking this will be about enough. So, to make a sorting system using copper golems, you need a shocking amount of redstone. Like a kinda stupid amount for what I thought was gonna be a build where I trap some copper guys for all of eternity to stare at the back of some chests. This isn't nearly enough suffering, but what can you do? Build 2. That's what I plan to do. So with 2 on our hands, I'm effectively hopping around to the opposite one constantly to build exactly what I made seconds before. Bonus points for when I get blown up. Or I build something wrong on one and ends up on the other 2. That's always fun. Also, may have to do some remodeling after this if these are actually going to be worth it, as the top sections are kind of poking through the roof. That's probably not good for the heating bill. Oh, sweet! Both sorters are done now. And with that, we just sit here and chill. Maybe do some fill-in holes again. Kinda missed this part, actually. But by night, we unveil the project I have in mind in preparation for Spook Day. I'm gonna make a creaking farm. It's entirely for the resin because I think bright orange fits Halloween really, really well, but you kinda need a lot of the stuff to decorate with it. Day 535. Resin farms are something that people talked about for like a month before, never mentioning it again. I found that out by looking for good design because there's literally nothing recent. But I did find this one guy called Fernocraft that promises around 50,000 clumps an hour on average average for his farm. So we're gonna see if that is the case. It also helps that he has a schematic now that I've reinstalled Lightmatica. But problem, it needs a lot of glass. My super smelter is broken. So guess what we're fixing? I want to fit more furnaces into this area this time around. Most because the original smelter had a lot more furnaces than the broken one. So curving the whole thing was kind of the only option. Otherwise our max capacity was kind of capped at like 8. Now it's slightly more than 8. Anyways, I'm back to making it look nicer in here, covering up exposed bits like hoppers and the such. But now this bad boy is back up and running. All in a day too, might I add. Now with our super smelter done, I can get some glass going. Well, actually I'll start with smooth stone first, as I already had that going. But then we do glass. I will say having a list that tells me how many items are available versus just if I have enough is a little strange. Especially because it doesn't look into shulkers, so I'm left just kind of guessing if I actually have the things that I need for this build. So we can only hope I'm doing this right. Discoveries have been made. We need 120 creaking hearts for this one farm. Do you know how much resin is needed for that? Just under 17 stacks. You know what it's for? A resin farm. So tell me why I basically have to create a small resin farm to make a larger resin farm. It doesn't make sense. This one thing tacked an entire extra job that we have to do every night until we have all the hearts. Why? Completely unrelated to gathering materials, by the way, but who is gonna tell me that there's a Sonic the Hedgehog GPS now? Like, you can be driving to Detroit or something and just hear Sonic egg you on to run a red light. Like, that's the funniest concept to me, and it's something that can happen. Like, I could just imagine he goes, "Well there, little buddy, run the red light. For me, Sonic the Hedgehog. Gotta go fast." And then you do so because, you know, the funny blue hedgehog told you to run the red light. And then the police stop you and you have to deal with that, but you know what? You did what you were supposed to do. You listened. Good on you. I have no clue what any of that has to do with Minecraft, though. Day 540. I'll be frank, I'm out of things to talk about for the moment as we're trying to gather the last few things we need for this farm. So to pass the time, I got a question for you. What kind of long-form video would you like to see from me? Like, I got some things in the works, but I do want some suggestions from you guys because I want to make things you want to see. What is it that you want to see? Do you have any questions for me? Because we're going to do a Q&A video soon, and that's going to be fun. Is cereal a soup? I turn all these questions over to you guys. After so many days, we are officially done gathering materials for the resin farm. Well, almost. I only got about 110 creaking hearts, and I misspoke a few days ago as we actually need something closer to 180, not 120. So I guess we're still doing this part. However, we can at least start putting the thing together even without all the required pieces. I mean, I think this whole thing over here is literally just for compressing the resin into blocks. It's not nearly the heart of the farm. Pun entirely intended. Actually, hold on. Gotta get my hands on some extra bits of pale oak. But now I know we are officially 7 hearts away from being fully ready for the farm. And may I just say, finally! I want to decorate for Halloween and I'm kind of running out of time. So, thank goodness that after one last creaking-related trapping, we are officially in the swing of things on construction. Whoa! Now that we're making progress on the building of this thing, I gotta say, that was probably the most repetitive gathering of materials we've ever had. Like an annoying amount of repetition. The kind you grit your teeth at because it's annoying. So annoying that I'm already making the stupid thing and still complaining about the gathering. But hey, it will hopefully be worth it. Day 545. Anyways, how this resin farm works is kind of simple. Basically, you need to suspend a bunch of creaking hearts above a water collection system to prevent spawning from below, pistons on the sides to push the bottom layer of logs and break the resin off them, and then you gotta make a platform for the guys to spawn, fall into a hole, and be prepped and ready for the might of my sweeping edge 3 blade. Or whatever else I plan to smack them with. Don't take that out of context. And with this right here, we can start arming this farm. And yeah, honestly, that's all I really did today. Oh wait, I forgot to spawn-proof the surrounding area. Oh, so that means... Oops. Looks like we know what we're doing from here. Now, I will say I had an option or two when it came to spawn proofing. Like, for instance, you can use buttons to spawn proof, but that's gonna probably cause a little bit of lag. But the other option of using slabs is a lot cheaper and won't cause lag. At least not in the same way. Though it takes a second to set these all up. Like, so long that I'm dealing with the creaking horde again because I just don't got a faster way of placing these. But it should be done by tomorrow. And look, it's tomorrow now. I think that's about as good as it's gonna get with the spawn proofing. So let's see what this does. Oh boy, there is so many creakings in here that it lags my game every time I hit one of these guys. Keep in mind, I'm hitting 180 of these things at a time, so It's bonkers. And in the span of about 8 minutes, we got 24 stacks of resin blocks, or approximately 13,824 resin clumps. This was very much worth it, though definitely not the 50,000 average I was promised. Lost half a day today, just decorated though. I will say the resin is a nice touch around here, especially because last Halloween I just had jack-o'-lanterns and pumpkins to decorate with, so this time having something else kind of spooky is nice. Makes me wish that there were more things like it though. I mean, you never know what's gonna come down the line. Day 550! Happy Halloween, folks. In celebration, I threw resin at villagers because it's vaguely candy-shaped. Yeah, that's right, the resin farm was all for that joke. And building, like I said, but mainly for that joke. Anyway, speaking of candy, let's build some. After all, I don't got much to do. So, let's see how many we can make today. 1 candy corn, 2 blue ball ping, 3 crunch bar, and 4 crummy Tootsie Roll. Perfection. Okay, so now that the resin farm is built, I gotta confront a new problem. I'm out of space for large farms in the industrial section of my base. So I gotta dust off the dirt gloves and start filling in holes again. More specifically in the direction of the swamp, because I want to start using this area. I mean, outside of expanding my house, nothing is gonna be put into the swamp. So making it possible to set up farms over here is pretty important. Especially because I have plans for literally everywhere else. Just you wait. I kinda miss this. Just turn off the old noodle and relax it. Placing dirt to extend my base. But you know, I do have other projects that have been on hold for a while now. Like a monument-related project? And I'm kind of out of dirt already too, somehow. So I'm thinking about it, let's switch gears to draining the ocean monument again. So, just as a refresh from the last time I did this, to drain a monument, you start placing a bunch of sand around the area you plan to get rid of. Plus in rows to give yourself enough of a buffer to use sponges to make everything go by super quick eventually. Regarding the sand though, I'm personally using a rapid fire piston and rebinding my place button to make the process go even faster. But that still doesn't mean we're gonna go too quickly. Though, I might have an idea to speed it up even faster. So if I'm using a rapid fire piston to place the sand faster, what exactly is stopping me from using more to create multiple rows at once? It's because the pistons are guaranteed to keep slowing down no matter how I set them up, because the sand just has to keep being pushed in place, and that just doesn't really work that way. So I guess this is as quick as it gets. Though you know, I'm thinking about it now, and I don't even think I have enough sponges to drain this area. I might have to fix that. Day 555. Okay, gotta make today quick. I finished all the sand from the shulker box. I milked the cow to the point of nearly having a full shulker full of bone juice, and then took off. We're looking for another monument, hopefully one with more sponges. Oh, down there. So what I'm really looking for in one of these is a sponge room. Ocean monuments have a chance to generate rooms with like 15 to 30 sponges, and that is honestly what we need right now. But this first one was kind of barren. Luckily, I found a second one. Got a tie trim from one of these Elder Guardians, and cleared it out ready for a search tomorrow. This one didn't have a sponge room. Man, that's like 3 so far without one. Will this one make 4? No, because I finally got one. Man, this feels good. And I think like 33 sponges will probably be enough. Especially if I set up a portal at the monument, because placing the sponges in the nether dries them out immediately. Actually, wait, that was always the plan. Really, all that did was just keep us from doing that constantly. Anyways, who wants to try out our new sponges? Hope you said yeah, because that's what I'm planning to do. So, with a quick column in the water, we can just walk forward with the sponges. And look at that. I get that it's just lowering the water levels, but it's just so cool to see what we've been working towards actually coming along. So we're gonna work on this for another shulker box or 2. Don't mind me just setting up that portal I was talking about. And now, back to work. I will say this is probably more boring than any of the other boring tasks we've done so far. Like, expanding our area still had us moving around. Destroying the mountain was fun for everybody except you, so me. But this one is just sitting at a piston placing sand. Hardly interesting. Day 560. All right, bored of the sand already. Back to sponging. I will say, I may have to experiment with heights on these walkways. Like, this one was an extra block down compared to the last, and it slowed us down tremendously. So it's trial and error time, baby. Never mind, I figured out the right height to go a decent speed. Now to figure out what block to use for the runway. Wood takes too long to break, but leaves are insta-mineable without beacon powers. Probably why most people use them after taking a look at a video about this. However, this way of doing things is still slow even with these changes. I'm gonna have to fix this for some of the other lanes. And with this though, we have drained a lane. That took way too long. 2 days for one lane is just not a good pace. So, how will I solve this? It's simple. I only really need lanes where the monument itself is at, as I don't want to damage it. Therefore, everywhere else is fair game to use flying machines to destroy the water. Just need to figure out how to make one of those. bees. So one neat, not so neat thing about flying machines, to make a large one I need honey blocks and slime blocks. My honey farm has only produced the combs. So looks like we're expanding, though that's gonna need more hives. And these forests are picked clean from the last time I needed bees. So who wants to create more bee using the comb? This is good news. With the man-made beehives, we can create a way larger bee population. Just need a place to actually plunk the things down at. So we're making like busy bees to create something that will look janky. Mostly because I started using copper and then realized honeycomb would probably fit something like this way better way too late. But hey, that's life as a builder. But man, I should have done better. Day 565. We're in need of a lot of flowers. So don't mind me over here repurposing our fungus grower. And now, many bees. This is just where we're at now. This is what bees does to a man. Specifically this man. Oh, and also we need to get things set up for harvesting these bad boys. That's pretty important. So, after booming the bee population even further, I'm gonna start trying to fix this crummy build. Mostly by replacing the pale oak with some extra honeycomb. After all, I may actually keep this thing around as bee storage if I need any more for projects. So why not make sure that it at least looks passable to be on this world? Anyways, I'm thinking the reason this thing looked so bad was because I only had a frame on the bottom. Also, let's give it another tier. And honestly, that kinda did fix all the issues I was having. Cool, glad I know that horrid thing's original form was a fluke. Now that it looks better in here, I can officially live amongst the bees. Though, I think we're at a point where it's okay to build the bottle farm now. Or at least starting to grab some of these bad boys for relocation. Oh, and also still gathering all those redstone bits I'm gonna need for this. Realistically, I should try to get 64 hives just so I can get 16 blocks every honey cycle. Heh, nice. Anyways, interesting thing, I took way too many bees yesterday, so I had to put some back because I really can't get more from just 4. Oh, and also change of plans. It was brought to my attention by community member Spam Tim that I should make the honey farm one of those giant block farms I built in 500 days. Like, yeah, we'll lower the rates compared to the nether, but like, how could I not build a big honeycomb block for this thing? I'd be a fool to avoid it. Day 570. There are so many bees in here that I literally can't stand still anymore. That's good for the plan. But you know what isn't good for our plan? Actually planning the giant block. I always spend a really long time doing these things and I want to find a faster way of doing it. So I spent most of the day trying to write down an easier way of doing things, when the answer was literally just tossing a grid on the texture in Photoshop. Love when I waste days. So with the easier way now set up for us, we can kick it into overdrive. Well, sort of, as I'm only using 3 blocks for colors and this texture uses about double that. So we have to make decisions about what block fits each color best. But I think we got there in the end. Now just 3 more suds. Hold your horses, guys. We hit 10K today. Like actually 10,000 subs, and that is incredible. I just can't believe we did it. So because I'm just doing what I've been doing today, I thought I'd just let you know and say thank you. Just so very much. I seriously appreciate all you who made it possible. Also, last call for Q&A questions, as that's what I'm gonna do for a subscriber special. Anyways, thanks. Oh good, we're finally done with the honeycomb block. Oh, you notice that we still got 1 wall left to do? What wall? Anyways, we finally have enough bees to also set up the farm. Wouldn't you know it, we're actually moving on to the thing we set up to do over a week ago now. I can practically taste the honey blocks we'll be making at this point. Last components are built, profits have been made, and lost in less than 30 seconds. Glass is smelting away, and I'm just kicking back recording something for another video. Life is great. Oh, and we're also starting assembly on the harvesters right now. I'm just happy things are moving along at this point. Day 557. I will say that this farm is deceptively simple, mostly because it goes fine on the ground, but doesn't tile vertically very well. Not actually sure how this will actually work out, but I'm optimistic. Oh geez, skeleton horses again. This is like the 2nd set in the last 200 days. I'm not complaining. That's just more cool rare creatures. And now that all the new skelly guys are put away, we can get right back into making this farm. And I'll admit, this is a very scuffed version of this design. Doesn't really help that I'm also kind of just making it up as I go. But hey, that doesn't really matter too much as the first area is ready to be armed. Still working on the 2nd and 3rd layers though. Happy Thanksgiving, folks. The holiday just kind of snuck up on me, so I'm still working on the honey farm. Which sucks because I really wanted to bring the survivors of last Thanksgiving on to kill each other for the right to determine what I do next. Guess I'll save that for Christmas. Is that a little sadistic? Yeah, probably. But who cares because my farm is finally done. Well, sort of, as I'm now in the modification stage. Anyways, happy Thanksgiving again. Love, devgen. All right, so something I'm noticing with the farm right now is that sometimes the honey bottles just end up on the ground. So we gotta make a collection system. Luckily, mud can have flowers planted on them, so we can use that to let normal hoppers pull items through the ground, which I should say is quite important as I didn't make this farm with a collection system in mind. So I'm glad my quick thinking saved me from another few days of doing this. All right, this farm is officially done. Now I just need bottles. So glass is once again on the stove. I will say, and I'm sorry to do so, I'm thinking the next farm I'll do will probably be something to auto-create dried kelp, mostly because my super smelter needs a fuel source, so I don't really feel as bad trying to use it as I do. Day 580! So while the glass is going, who wants to do something fun? I'm looking out at the industrial section of the base and noticing only the giant blocks actually look aesthetically pleasing, which, keep in mind, isn't the greatest thing in the world for a place that is meant to be part of a pretty little town. So after all this time, mostly dedicated to farms, we are refocusing back onto what this 100 days was really supposed to be about, making large builds for the town. And that's because I'm gonna cover these things up. All right, so the first farm to get covered is actually two. The old auto melon farm and the never replaced pumpkin farm. I'm thinking I'll use the pale oak palette for this one due to the proximity to the other pale oak places. Especially because compared to what will likely happen for the other farms, this one is very boxy. And a while back, I decided that newer builds were going to be less boxy. So using an older palette for a boxier build is actually a genius move. Kind of like putting a large melon and pumpkin on top of this thing. Oh man, I'm actually making really good time on this build. We're only on day 2 of this guy and we're already on the roof. But that's the thing though, we're on the roof now. I'm way slower at roofing. Like, we've known this for a while, but seriously, it's becoming quite apparent that the roof slowed down my building process bad. I'll probably have to fix this at some point. So in the end, we can all agree roofing sucks. Anyways, build's done. Currently the largest in the town, weighing in at however many blocks I used for it. It's the melon and pumpkin farm. And over here at the cobble farm, I see no other reason to not keep this build train going with another cover-up job, this time in blue. I will say I play with a lot of mods from time to time, and something I really want in the base game is some kind of builder's wand. That, of course, being something that just lets you place multiple blocks down at the same time. And that may just be because this kind of project takes a while, mostly because I have to swap the gathering resources every so often. But still, I kind of want that at some point. Hey, give us a few extra tools like it and you can call it the Mega Build Drop. Is it obvious that I'm putting the Mega Build off? Day 585! Oh boy, everybody's favorite part? Roofing. Like, genuinely, why am I so slow at this? I don't get it. And maybe I never will. Anyways, the cobble farm cover-up is done. And in this corner, weighing in at the concept of infinite stone, being easily the most generic one so far, and it's only number 2, it's the cobble farm. The cobble farm's a little close to the bone meal farm, so I'll probably have to move it, but for now, that's just where it sits. Anyways, for the auto wood farms, I kind of want to try making a new palette for resin since we have a lot of that stuff lying around right now. Admittedly, I may have already screwed this palette up as I chose white wool for the primary block of the walls. So instead, how about this build is more of a transitional one? Basically, I think darker blocks would look better as part of the resin palette. So once I got this one done as a proof of concept for white in the palette, I'll make the next one to have black or something. And that's just because this is way too much wool to break. Okay, I'm not doing that. We can officially begin slapping a resin roof on this behemoth. To be honest, I am actually quite curious to see how this will look in the end. Like, realistically, I've definitely been prioritizing size over looks for these builds, but I don't think anything other than the eventual mega build will compare to this one just because of the size alone. However, it's definitely showing how big it is and how expensive it's becoming to make. I'm really just glad that I made this resin farm when I did. Does wonders for us. Anyways, this looks horrible at the moment. Thinking the roof needs to be like 2 blocks thick or something. However, we still have a second one to do really quick, so fixing that first one is probably gonna have to wait. Day 590. Anyways, second roof. Running perpendicular to the first because I think it's needed at this point. And you won't believe it. I think it fixed my biggest problem with how this was looking. Probably will still double up like I was saying before, but at least we're on the right track now. Glad this roof is still smaller than the other one. Really helps with speed. Anyways, mobs are spawning on these farms. And a creeper damaged one of the TNT dupers. That makes me quite mad because who else is gonna fix that? Just me. Just me. Anywho, both roofs have their first layers, so now we're gonna get to decorating the exterior. Alright, so the sides of this puppy look extremely barren, so let's fix that. I'm gonna try out using some shells for details. Also, I think this is my first time acknowledging these things. Only took another drop to come out before I talked about them, and that's probably gonna happen with the spear. Anywho, I would say that actually helped make things look a little more interesting. But let's just come down the center quickly with this sort of detail, plus some lighting, maybe even some glow shrooms, and bam, we got ourselves a much better exterior. Just gotta gotta do that on other spots too. Got 2 more walls on this larger tower to do. So let's just come through with the shelves on both, get those torches down, a touch of those circle doohickeys on this far wall, and now we're gonna do the same for the last one before we put in the shroom lights. Oh, and look, the little circle things are skinny ovals on this wall. Anywho, shroom lights as promised. And we're not done. That's just the first tower, and we technically still got a second one to do. I want to call this a tower as much as the other one was. More like a large house connected to a skyscraper. Luckily, because it's a lot smaller, it won't take nearly as long. Day 595. In fact, we're done with the walls already. Now to break up this upper dark oak section. Basically, it just needs a touch of something to make it look a little bit different and less bad. Personally, I'm using strip hillock logs for this, but that took no time at all. Now I'll come through here and fix the damage from the creeper and struggle with this water flow. Way more than I should have, but that's life. Anyways, the duper is back in working order, meaning that we are officially done. And in this corner, being the largest build so far, apart from the house, made using blood, sweat, and resin, it's the tree farms. And everything is officially covered up now, or rather for now. I'll get back to you when we have more farms to make look better. Anywho, Christmas is around the corner now, and we still have the Halloween decorations up. So let's fix that, and then we can come through with some Christmas candy canes. I'm actually having a wonderful Christmas time decorating. It is, in fact, jingling my bells. And the best part is, these decorations are gonna be in the World Tour video. That's right, friends, we got another one on the way. So let's make things look all holly and jolly while we still have time. Though I forgot I got around to decorating this room, and I don't really have space for a tree this time around. So how about we speedrun some renovations? Really just knocking down a wall in this living room space, digging a 9x9 area for adequate space, walling it all up with concrete. Probably have to come through and do some of the other walls like this so it isn't just bricks everywhere in the house. And trying to make a roof, though we kind of have an issue with the creaking farm allowing some of these guys to escape. We'll fix that later, it's fine. Anyways, Christmas tree in the house, but we can do better than that. Now a giant Christmas tree, that's where it's at. Thinking this version of a large spruce is gonna fit this best. And now we can get to the decorating. A few bits of concrete here, some lighting there, even got wool mixed in to be tinsel. And oh by golly, we're having a holly jolly Christmas this year with how this is looking. Though I think we need a few presents under this tree. And man, that seems to have tied it all together in a nice little bow. Day 600. It's been yet another journey to get to this point, friends. One deserving of a gold star, like so. Though I need a little extra gold to make it look nice. Also like so. Anyways, it's that time of year where we gather together with our loved ones to spread holiday cheer. Personally, I only got dogs I forgot the names of, but we all got someone, right? Hopefully. Well, even if not, you can still do something special. Like for instance, I hit level 100 for the first time in the world today. That's cool, it's a nice milestone. All of that's gonna disappear when I enchant a spear. Anyways, I know this was kind of a weird 100 days, a little unfocused, but I'm happy with how it turned out. It was just a really fun journey, and we even managed to hit 10,000 subscribers during this one, and all I can say is just thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, I appreciate that. So, yeah, I guess just thank you all for watching to this point, and as always, I hope to see you again. Hopefully tomorrow.